round she goes. The merry-go-round that first occupied this building of the Allen Herschel Company in North Tonawanda some 75 years ago is still thrilling young and old alike today. The carousel left here in 1959 when the business was sold and spent many years at various amusement parks in nearby Canada until the Carousel Society of the Niagara Frontier was organized in 1979. It purchased the Herschel factory complex, brought home the carousel, and restored it to its original splendor. And it's been operating for the public since 1983. Society Director Don Traub tells us about Allen Herschel.
And he was originally into an agricultural implement and steam fitting operation here in town. Got turned on to carousels on a trip to New York City and made his first carousel in 1883.
Now this model is the 1916 model?
Correct. It's an all handmade carousel. All the horses are wood, carved here in the factory. The whole machine was made here in the factory. It 36 horses, one chariot that we're sitting in, a love tub which is across the way, which spins, and it is a portable model.
And how is it powered?
It's powered by the electric drive motor that we have that is still with the machine. It is a Canadian Westinghouse motor, but this is the way it left the factory.
Fantastic colors. Is there a special color scheme that you follow for this carousel?
All the horses except for the lead horse are in what we call park paint, not original colors. The lead horse, which is the big white one behind us, is in the proper color scheme for this period of carousel. And there is basically two styles of horses on this machine, though. The outside row horses are all 1916 animals, and the smaller horses in the middle and inside row are of an earlier variety, but were also carved still in 1916.
Now, why is the lead horse there and we're here?
Well, we are basically sitting at the end of all the horses. The lead horse back here is leading all the other animals who are now pulling the chariot. So we are in the back end. And but every carousel has got a lead animal, whether it's a horse, a lion, a tiger, something majestic.
Is he carved any differently?
He's a much bigger animal than any of the other horses that are on the machine, and is very different in style.
Now, how long would it take, say, to carve one horse?
A good carver, they say, take approximately a day to knock out a horse, except for the fact that the bulk of these things were done sort of assembly line. Somebody would work on the bodies, somebody would work on the legs, somebody else would carve the heads and necks, and then they would be all put together. The components would be put together. So day to 2 days per animal.
And then for this whole carousel?
They were doing one a week out of here in the 1920s.
How many men are we talking about?
About 120 men working here in the factory.
A real production.
Very busy place.
Bob Zimmerman is a dedicated volunteer woodcarver here at the museum. Retired since 1977, this so-called engineer without papers is a master at sculpturing and designing lifelike creatures from solid blocks of wood.
We glued up the horse in a cellar in my friend's home, traveled to the library here in town, over to here and back again in different shows before it finally all got finished.
You didn't have any special end to do, did you?
Not special. Yes, I did the hair up between the ears.
Okay. Now what are you working on?
This is a frog that will be used either on the carousel or as a stand for children to sit to have their pictures taken. It'll be made so that it can be put on the carousel.
Now, it's sort of heavy. Is this a solid piece of wood? Of what kind?
It's basswood, and
never heard of a bass tree.
A bass tree is known probably locally as a linden tree.
Okay.
And if you see the big leaf, it looks like a heart, big heart leaf on it.
Now, how long have you been working on this, and how long will it take before we see something like that?
Well, it depends. How long depends on how many volunteer carvers we get.
Okay.
Normally, you can figure 200 to 300 hours long, and maybe 8 or 10 different carvers.
The original roundhouse we purchased in 1983 and put the carousel in it and started restoring it. This building was originally built as a construction and lumber yard. Alan Herschel bought the complex in 1915 and moved in, and his first carousels were produced here in 1916, as this is an early model of that year. There were 10 major companies here in the United States. Between 6,000 and 10,000 carousels were produced by all the American companies. We know for sure that North Tonawanda, with its 2 manufacturing sites, basically 4 companies, produce more carousels than anybody else in the world.
You have tours, and what are your hours, months?
We basically open to the public May through November. Times do fluctuate with the peak vacation season. 6 days a week we're open during June, July, and August. But tour groups of 20 or more were open anytime. We know they're coming because of prior arrangements have to be made. Guided tour of the facility. They spend about an hour to hour and a half in here.
You got a phone number?
Yes, sir. 693-1885.
Young and old alike?
Everybody loves carousels.
What do the youngsters have to say?
They love it. Oh, yeah. A lot of nostalgia. A lot of nostalgia. A lot of tears, a lot of singing going along.
Is that right?
And it really is fun.
What do you think of this little outfit here?
I think it's great.
It
nice? Really is. It's nice.
You enjoyed it?
I sure did.
This is wonderful. It brought back memories of when I was an early childhood, say like 3.
What do you remember? Who helped you?
My daddy put me on and let me ride in each fan where you are and keep me from falling off. But I loved it. He couldn't get me off.
How about when you were a teeny bopper? Did you get on with a little boyfriend, maybe?
Why do you ask that?
I just was funny, because did you?
That's a secret.
But you had fun.
I sure did.
You like it here?
I love it.
It brings
Just
back...
not long enough. The ride's not long enough.
But brings back nice memories,
It
doesn't
sure
it?
does.
What are your goals here?
Our goals are basically to preserve the factory. This is the only surviving historic carousel factory complex that's open to the public. And for that very reason, people that are into carousels, it's sort of like Mecca. They come back to the only factory that's still in existence. I would urge everybody in the area to take a look at what's in your backyard. There's a tremendous historical record that's right here in Western New York that everybody ought to come and see and get a real sense of what we are all about and where we've come from, lest we forget.